Welcome, everybody. Starting today with what is really disastrous news for corporate and legacy media. And the news is quite simple, which is Americans are bailing out of following the news at all. And those that are going to come back are not likely to come back and follow the very same corporate media that they were following before. Now, if you've been watching the show for a while, you've heard me say before that corporate media is sort of losing its grip. And many of the people who are tuning out right now are not coming back at all. The latest data confirms it. There's a new AP NORC poll that Americans on both sides of the aisle are stepping back from political news. MSNBC and CNN have seen these massive drops in post-election ratings. MSNBC down 54%. CNN down 45%. Now, meanwhile, I told you that Fox has gained viewers or at least more or less held steady. So what's going on? Is it partisan or not? I want to break it down and then talk a little bit about it. At a top level, people are burnt out. After months of relentless campaign coverage, the punditry, the endless panels talking in circles, having to fill 24 hours a day, many Americans are understandably mentally exhausted. That's in general. And some of them are realizing something critical, which is you don't need corporate media anymore. The whole idea of corporate media and 24-hour cable news is it's kind of on all the time. You're not necessarily actively listening the way you might to a 55-minute podcast episode with a discrete beginning, middle, and end, and then we'll see you tomorrow. That's the whole concept of the 24-hour news. The polls are showing that 2/3 of Americans are actively limiting their intake of political news. Now, this part is partisan. For Democrats especially, the fatigue is very much noticeable. 70% of Democrats say they're stepping back, but 60% of Republicans also say that they are stepping back. But here's the thing. This is not merely a post-election slump. This is part of a bigger trend that's been building for a while. MSNBC, CNN, they hemorrhage viewers. More people tune to alternative platforms for news. This show is one of many examples. During the election, we saw the audience numbers skyrocket. That's expected. Unlike the cable giants, we experienced the post-election decline, but we've already gotten it back. And in fact, I was stunned that earlier this week, holiday week, usually one of the slowest weeks for us of the year, this period kind of around the couple days before Christmas Eve through New Year's, it's usually very slow. And we had some of the largest traffic numbers since the election. In fact, the best day since the election was Monday, and the second best day was Tuesday. That is very different than what corporate media is seeing. And I think that this is exactly what I suggested might happen right around November 15th or 20th, which was that a lot of the tune out that's happening, when they come back, they're going to be looking for something a little bit different. This is not only about the fatigue. The fatigue is part of it, but it's also about trust. Americans are tired of shallow, one-sided stories that are really about entertainment. One poll respondent put it really well, which is, why would I want to keep watching when the main event is over? Meaning, we had the election, our candidate lost, that's it. They're sort of done with a guy or gal in the corner of the screen yelling and talking at them, sometimes with 10 panelists all saying sort of nothing. And I'll be honest, I don't blame them. People are looking for variety, depth, real conversations, I think a genuine connection to some degree. And I believe that that's one factor in why platforms like ours are thriving. We are not dependent on corporate sponsors. There aren't 4 levels of editors telling me what to say and how to say it and when to say it. That's it. It's really that simple. Now, I also think it's important to be very real, which is that corporate media to a degree has created this problem for themselves. And some have better anticipated these changes, whereas others have not. And they scrambled too late in many cases to try to switch to some of the platforms that we are on. Some of them are doing well, some of them are not. Many of the viewers that they have lost are not going to come back. They will either not come back to political news at all, or they will go to an alternative platform. So what does that mean for the future? For MSNBC, for CNN, to a degree for Fox News as well, because they won't have their candidate in the White House forever. There is an uphill battle, but at the same time, I can't come to you and honestly say, this is the end. What this probably means is that they will funnel their nearly limitless bank accounts into forcing their way into some of the platforms where we do well. YouTube, other platforms. Some of them are already kind of doing it. Now, I do expect that when Donald Trump is inaugurated, they will all get a boost. When the chaos resumes, when the insanity resumes, that is going to help them. But the longer term trend seems to be clear, which is that to a great degree, audiences are moving on. And for independent media, the message is also clear, which is we need to keep doing what we're doing and keeping the show accessible on all of these platforms. Offer an alternative to, here's a 5v5 debate about something that was settled 20 years ago because we think that that'll drive ratings. Yeah, that's not really going to work. If there is one thing we know for sure, it's that the era of corporate media dominance is fading. And it's a question of who's going to be there to pick up the slack. I am going to try for it to be platforms like this one. And if there's other alternative media shows that you like better, you might not like me. Remember earlier this week, someone said my eyes are too close together for them to watch this show. I'm so sorry about that. But there's probably some other platform that will work better. That's clearly the direction people are going. Corporate media is scrambling. This holiday season, let's remember how powerful it is to have someone in your corner. Have you ever taken a big step as an adult, going back to school, changing careers? Think back to who encouraged you along the way. That's what the 431 Exchange is for so many adult learners. Our sponsor, the 431 Exchange, is a nonprofit that provides scholarships to adults 18 to 75 who are working to transform their lives and support families. The 431 Exchange fills a vital need in Louisiana, which ranks 40th in K through 12 education. We've talked about that, and that means opportunities are limited from an early age. One scholar studying agricultural engineering says, over the past 4 years, I've felt so much love from you all. Words can't express my gratitude. Another scholar at an Ivy League school calls this the most impactful scholarship he's ever received. Inspired by 431 women who integrated secretarial offices in the 1960s, the 431 Exchange allocates 80 cents of every dollar directly to scholarships. They're a 501c3, so donations are tax deductible. Help the David Pakman Show reach our goal of $15,000 in donations by year end at 431exchange.org/Pakman. A generous donor will match all donations up to $15,000 so you can double your impact. Maybe even give a donation in someone else's name as a holiday gift. The link is in the description.